like I said earlier, and we're going to mention it right now with the PS6, because there's been a rumor. There's been a lot of rumors lately on how much the PS6 will cost to make right now. And will it get any better? Now, I don't know about you. I love Mystique. He's a wicked YouTuber, man. He's he's quite aspiring, to be honest. He's the PlayStation guy. But he was saying, obviously, how Sony should stick to the plan. There's no reason for them to delay it, because if they delay it by a year or two, will these components actually get cheaper for one? And also, they've got these contracts in place. They've already designed, he's saying, the PS6. And the problem is, if you delay it by 2 years, it's going to be aging hardware. And I get what he's saying, but I'm looking at it from a consumer point of view. If they release the PlayStation 6, which potentially they still could next year, how many sales are you going to actually sell? People are not going to see the importance in buying the PlayStation 6. Supposedly, it's going to cost about $1,000 to make a PlayStation 6. And if you assume that PlayStation sell that console at a loss, what, $900?
Yeah. In your bra.
We don't know if that price is going to go up even more. So are you thinking that at least $1,000 for a PlayStation 6? Now, I get what people are saying in terms of we spend money on our phones. It needs to be delayed. 900, no disk drive, no stand, no control. Flipping hell. This is the problem with this generation. Now, I get it what they're saying, like even with Apple and things, I get things are going up. But it's very weird that imagine if the PlayStation 5 was booming with IPs, booming with games. Absolutely, they were on top of their game. And then going into the PlayStation 6, we had, say, Killzone Remake. We had Days Gone 2. I know I keep mentioning it. We had Bloodborne Remake or Bloodborne 2. All PlayStation 6 titles. Imagine you get a disc drive with it, you get a controller, and it was going to cost $1,000. I think with everything going on, yes, it's still expensive, but I'm just saying, if everyone thought, wow, the PlayStation 5 has been amazing, I want better frame rates, I want all of these IPs, then I think we'll be having a different conversation. It's the fact is that how are we going to sell this PlayStation 6? And I've been thinking about it. How are you going to sell this PlayStation 6? For me, I'm happy with the graphics. I'm happy with the graphics of the PlayStation 5 Pro. If there's no disc drive on the PlayStation 6, which I think would be stupid, or if they don't do one at all, that's the nail in the coffin. That is going to be a very hard sell. Like, how good can the graphics get? If they said, oh, you're going to get minimum 120 FPS, and then we're going to go through that generation again of getting patches from PS4 games, PS5 games, and they're running at 120, because that's the only way I see them selling this, because you have to have games. Look at what's happened to Xbox. It's different with Nintendo. Nintendo have always been in a league of their own, and everyone just wanted a more powerful Switch 2. It will need to come with a crazy big new game release. Yep, like The Last of Us 3, Uncharted 5, Spider-Man 3. Yeah. But the problem is, I reckon Spider-Man 3 will be cross-gen, and that's the problem where they're going to go. They're going to be like, we're going to lose so much money if we don't release these as cross-gen. But you may recall, he previously tipped a $760 bill of materials early in this year and was bullish about a subsidized $699 launch price for the platform. But in an updated post, who's accurately leaked a lot of console news over the years, including the specs of the PS5 Pro, and this is Hardware Snoop Kepler L2. They've predicted the PS6 may cost around $960 to assemble, and they've got a lot of things right. So we're looking at least like $1,000 system, and this is just to assemble without even accounting for shipping, storage, marketing, and other associated costs. It's close to $1,000 without these things. And remember, Microsoft has tipped memory prices to double in the... Oh, we're screwed. We're screwed. Does it make sense, guys? Not from a consumer point of view, from Sony's point of view. Does it make sense for them? Well, we've got the PlayStation 6 ready. We know the hardware. Problem is, we need to ship it next year, because if we delay it by 2 years, aging hardware, prices might not come down. And he did make a point. Does it make sense for them not to delay the PlayStation 6? It doesn't make sense. And he also mentioned, Mystique, which is very interesting, that he just said, even if they don't sell as many consoles, at least they've got a growing audience on the PlayStation 6. And I totally get what he's saying. As a consumer, they better be ready to be like, we're not going to sell hardly any consoles, but we might as well. So I guess they're in a difficult situation. Delay it, aging hardware, components may even go up in price. This ain't going to go down to at least 2030. Probably like, screw it, we need to do it. I thought they might delay it to 2028, but at this point, I don't think they will. I think it's going to come out end of next year, especially with Xbox. Are they even going to bring out their next generation console? And obviously, Microsoft has tipped memory prices to double. Lenovo doesn't expect the prices to come down to at least 2030. And as a result, Kepler L2 believes Sony should stick to its plan and release the platform regardless. He pointed out that if prices keep going up, a delay would only increase the cost. He added that it's unlikely Sony will re-engineer the system, even if it does postpone it. So imagine that. We could get an aging PS6 if it's delayed. So I guess you could say they might as well. It's worth repeating that PlayStation is not alone in this predicament. Yep, all console manufacturers are finding it increasingly difficult as AI was supposed to make everything better. Even Apple forced to raise prices on many of its products this week. And if one of the biggest tech companies on the planet is invulnerable to this, then what hope does anyone else have? I can't even begin to imagine what kind of meetings are taking place at Sony right now. They're probably like, listen, guys, we need Concord 2. Wasn't a midnight launch, really, was there? Or for the PlayStation 5, I could be wrong. But I mean, most people, it was like during COVID, most people like myself would had it delivered. If there was a next generation console, my gosh, I wish I could go back to the days at this age, like to the PS3, where I had money now. I would love to do a midnight launch. It just feels like with anything anymore, especially with GTA 6, I was hoping that there was going to be a midnight launch so you could line up and connect with people. Turns out that's not going to be the case. But it just looks like even with the PS6, if people do buy, it's just one of those where you just have it delivered. There's no community no more in terms of people actually meeting in person to line up for these consoles. I don't think we've ever seen this before in terms of the next generation. We usually get freaking excited by it. And this is probably the first that everyone's like, yeah, I don't think I'll be buying it because just things are just too expensive. So it's not a matter of them just lowering the price. If this is how much things cost, this is how much things cost. Sony can't stop hinting at the portable nature of PS6. And is this something that saves the launch of the PlayStation 6? If people can't afford the console, will this be $500? And people are like, well, this is probably worse off than a PS6, but this is a PS6 handheld. It's becoming increasingly obvious at this point that the PS6 will have a portable element. Maybe this is something they thought this is the only way we're going to get a cheaper price point for people to come in at. I don't know how this is going to be. Not looking forward to the PS6 just to play The Last of Us 2, the ultimate remake. Why not? There could be some, Reggie, there could be some new features. There could be some new golf clubs. If you read between the lines of everything it's saying, it keeps reiterating that one of its goals is with the next generation is to expand out of the living room. CEO Hideaki Nishino touched on this in his Famitsu interview earlier this month. And now probing a Q&A, throughout the document, it repeatedly mentions changes in how players play and their evolving need, and outright says it needs to provide experiences tailored to users' playstyles beyond the living room. Well, you need to read between the lines. It's pretty clear Sony's been watching the success of the Switch and its successor, as well as portable PCs like the Steam Deck and the ROG Xbox Ally X. There looks like they're going to be jumping back in with a handheld, which would be quite exciting if you ask me. I've got back into my Switch. Like, I've been playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm loving it. So this means it will serve as an extension of the PS6 and PS5 experience and won't necessarily need to sell 10 millions of units. Obviously, in this era of expensive memories, price is very much up for debate, but I do think there'll be a big enough market for fans who want to take their PlayStation games on the go. Oh yeah, definitely. I know we've tried to predict the prices of the PlayStation 6, but for me, I'm loving the PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony have made some really bad decisions with Concord, with Bungie, with a lot of things. This is something they need to get right. But either way, if they get it right, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be an uphill battle.